you cool cats and kittens. It's Julia here with Jules Girl Talk. Thank you for joining in. I have a very special guest today. Her name is Audra Washington, and here she is.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, how are you today?
Great. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what all you keep, because you're very variety.
So we actually, I guess we started out with Crested Geckos. Most people kind of gotten used to us through Crested Geckos, but then, it kind of led into other species. My husband, Will, he's my other half of Flawless, and he had always liked snakes from the time he was little. So it kind of started out, I guess, for snakes for him. He had like Cribos and such. And then when there was a chance for us to get into, I think really in the back of his head, he thought, if I can get her into lizards, we can get her over a fear of snakes. Because for me, I was afraid of snakes. So he started out with the Crested Geckos, and then we had lychees, we've had gargoyles, we've had chewies, and then we got into ball pythons. So our daughter, she had like a house snake, but other than that, that's kind of that's the reptiles.
Yeah. So what inspired like the first one that you guys got? Did he do this before you, or was this a together like from the beginning?
So the Crested Geckos, we started out with 4 Crested Geckos. We have 4 kids. So we thought at the time we were both in law enforcement and super busy. We've just always been like busy worker bees. Right. And so we started out with 4 geckos, literally from Petco. And he got them. It was funny because he had gotten off of work, and I had already gotten home from work because we were both night shifters. And he calls me when he gets backs into the driveway, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to come out here and help me with something." And I'm like, "Okay." But I was a little annoyed because I was like, I'm already in my pajamas, like I'm ready to go to bed. Right. And I knew night again. So I'll, get in my house shoes and walk outside, and his big butt is like leaned down in the back of his car. All I see is his massive butt. And I'm like, what is he doing? And he's digging, and he comes out with this little bitty box. And I'm like, what is that? And I noticed it had holes in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold up. I'm like,
yeah, hold up.
What's in that? I said, if that's a snake in that box, you and the snake going to be the funky smell in the attic. Like, stop. Yeah. And he's like, hush, we're about to get you over your fear of snakes. And so I opened it, and there's these 4 little cute baby geckos, and they're staring up at me. Oh, like I'm freaking out right now. They're so tiny and you're so big. So we, Petco told, us to do everything the incorrect way.
Right.
So
of course.
researched. And I mean, that pretty much started us kind of branching out and looking for quality breeders to buy geckos from. And then it was just like us keeping, we enjoyed them because they were so low maintenance, and we really didn't have time for like a dog or a cat or any type of like furry animal at that point, just because of our law enforcement schedules, our law enforcement background. So that kind of led into me seeing like the different breeders, and I'm like, you know what, how hard are these to actually breed? Because they seem kind of fun, like we could do projects and stuff with them. Right. And Will was like, well, I don't know how hard they are, but I can I can't look it up. So that just kind of snowballed. Then we just started picking out like from all the different breeders that we really admired their work and all that kind of stuff. We just kind of handpicked, exactly what we wanted. And that's how we built from there.
That's awesome. So are crested geckos like you're still like your favorite? Because usually crested geckos at first were my favorite, and then I started getting into more and more stuff, and it's like, wait a minute. So, like, what is your favorite to keep and to breed? Because I like to breed things better than keep them, and vice versa.
Gotcha. They will always hold a special place in my heart. And I've got like a few that I'm just like really connected to. Like they'll die of old age here, very happy, old gecko. But I think honestly, like now I'm kind of leaning towards like chewies. I really like the kahuas. So
I just got my first eggs, so I feel you right now.
to 30 of them, I guess now, 30 to 40 of them. Yeah, and they're just kind of hanging out right now. Like we're working on, a couple of parents, but like for the most part, they're just like they're really cool. I've really enjoyed those. I don't care for and I love them, like they're beautiful, but I don't care for keeping leechies or gargs.
Really?
I'm not a leech. It was funny.
That surprises me because I like keeping gargoyles more than my crested geckos, for sure. And my leechies, but I had to stop doing the leechies alone because, I mean, we have big GTs and all the way on the top shelf that I'm trying to get, and they're barking at me, and I'm like, no, Chris, you're doing this. So the chewies, they have so much personality to me compared to some other geckos. They will come out, they'll take food from your hand. They're so much fun. So what are your future goals in the industry, and like what do you prioritize in your breeding programs?
So when we started out, we just we didn't have a whole lot of extra cash hanging around at all. And we just kind of penny pinched and our dream gecko at the time when we first started out was like a lily white, right? So we saved up, we purchased our first lily white, and we got it actually from Zengex. So Chase at Zengex, that was our first lily white gecko. It was like $1,000. It was a tiny baby. And that gecko, she went on to be like just a prolific breeder here for us. And so really and truthfully, like we really just whatever we liked, our preference. Like Will loved reds. He's colorblind, so red is like his color.
Chris is colorblind too.
Well, I find that like it seems like more men are colorblind than women. I always run into like people who are colorblind. Like
it's only 1 in 200 women are colorblind, but I think it's 1 in 50 men are colorblind.
Well, he's definitely colorblind. but he can see red, and it's funny because like he doesn't really see varying shades of red as well. Because
that's how
like
Chris's is.
Yeah, he'll come out like he likes red from the top to the bottom. So he'll wear red shoes, red pants, red shirt, red hat. And I'm like, babe, those are all different shades of red. He's like, I don't care. I don't care. It's red.
Oh my gosh, that is great. You'll have to ask him what color he thinks money is, because Chris, for the life of him, cannot understand why people say money's green.
Ah, yeah.
He does, like, that's that shade that he doesn't see.
I'll have to ask him. I've never thought about that. Like I ask him a lot of times, like, what color do you see in like green, specifically like turquoises and stuff like that? He will say that looks yellow to me. You know, like, definitely not yellow, babe. That's
and I have green eyes. I have the color of eyes he really can't see. So I'm like, what? Anyway. So do you still do like your law enforcement stuff? Like, are you still working a 9 to 5 as well as this?
No. So we resigned. We were able to both resign. I resigned in October of was it 2021? I think 2021 or 2022. Wow. And then he followed that year after in like March, the end of March, 1st of April. And we just do, our reptiles full time. So
it's so hard, like work-life balance, going to work, working all day, and then coming home and working all night.
Yeah.
So
We
I
could,
know a lot of people struggle with that.
yeah, we couldn't do as much as we do if we still had those careers, those jobs. So yeah.
Yeah, have you had like any criticism or anything in this journey? I know a lot of gecko people start off with criticism. The community is not always the most welcoming at first,
Well,
unfortunately.
so we started off where we were nothing but online, right?
Right.
And we had honestly kind of built somewhat of a following just from being online. So then we did our first show. Actually, it was before I resigned from law enforcement, so it was before we both stopped. But we did our first show, and that particular weekend, I actually had to work. I had to work. I was on shift that whole weekend. So he went. It was Fort Mill, I think. Fort Mill, yeah, it was
Mhm.
Fort Mill, and he ended up being beside Babu there, and that's like how that kind of relationship got started. I think actually it was a show me show, and he got
Nice.
the best setup or whatever. We have this little trophy. I actually still have it over to the side somewhere in here, but it so that kind of leapt us into the scene, I guess you would say, and then we started networking with people. But we have really made it a point to be drama free, okay, because of our law
Yes.
enforcement backgrounds. We've seen people in their worst of the worst, like the most horrible things that nobody should ever see. Okay. So when we deal with criticisms of crested geckos or, ball pythons or anything that doesn't equate to, a child passing
Right.
or major, homicides, things like that.
It's a step down. Like it's a lot of like mess with these, but that's a step down for you.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, like we just don't have time to bring any type of negativity into our lives. So we just don't entertain it. We don't do it. If you bring us drama, we're just going to distance ourselves from it. It's just not worth it because in our space, like we are doing this because it gives us the ability to touch people outside of ourselves in a positive light. If it's not positive, if it doesn't add to the world positively, we don't want anything to do with it. So we just don't entertain it. We don't allow it. We don't tolerate it. So that's been our biggest thing thus far, and I think it's been
so
successful so far.
Yeah, I haven't heard of like any like nothing. It's kind of like peaked in like 2021, 2022, like all the tension, and then it like broke.
Yeah,
So it's a
kind of
lot
did.
less than it used to be, thankfully.
I feel like that. I feel like people are just kind of coming to terms with some things are better left to you just disagree to disagree, right?
Right.
So it's like I think a lot of people are understanding that there are this is the southernism. I'm sure you probably have heard it being in Tennessee for a while, but there are more than one ways to there's more than one way to skin a cat. Like I know that
Yeah.
sounds terrible.
No,
But
my dad used to always say that.
okay, so you've heard it. And so basically
Yes.
people out there that you don't understand that saying, it's basically like there are so many ways of doing things, and it's just like nothing really, as long as you're taking care of the health of your animal and you're not abusing them at all in any stretch of the imagination, then there are so many different ways that you can keep and be successful and not just have these guys thrive or survive, but they're really thriving. They're really healthy, happy animals. So I think that's where it's kind of gotten to now. It's like it's come a long way. There's still some to go, especially when we start looking into some of like the social media groups, like specifically Facebook groups and things like that. You have a lot of that back and forth and that. And like I said, we observe and we see different things and take notes with different things, but we don't engage with that. Just because it doesn't.
Ultimately, you know kind of who to stay away from when you step back and watch it all, especially on what group is it? The Crested Gecko USA that doesn't have an admin. Like that page is nuts.
They're wilding out over there.
They are wilding out. Like all these names I haven't even heard of, and I'm like, what are we even talking about here? Like you're just fighting to fight. And these are just geckos, like chill. They're just little geckos.
Like what Tiki say, guys, chill. It's just geckos. Like he's got a
Yeah.
T-shirt that says it. I think
Does
it's
he
right.
really?
Yeah.
That's perfect. I need
It's
that.
Yes, you do.
Well,
You need
I
it.
need that. Do you have any advice for people thinking about getting into this or even getting just their first reptile?
So the biggest thing is research before
Right.
you make a purchase. Kind of know what you're getting into. I will say crested geckos are probably the best beginner reptile out there.
It's true.
They really are. Like
You don't need to
I've
worry
always,
about heat because that's what confuses a lot of new keepers is all the heat and UVB requirements. Like that could be confusing if you've never heard it before.
it absolutely can. And with these guys, like they're as long as you don't dehydrate them and you don't bake them, actually, overheat them or whatnot,
Yeah.
like they're fine. They really are. As long as you always make sure they've got water in there that they can grab. And we feed our guys twice a week. We will throw like calcium dusted crickets, and we're experimenting with some different bugs here recently, but just to see what some of our guys like more than others or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As long as you don't bake them, as long as you don't dehydrate, really awesome.
They're really simple. I've also been like kind of experimenting with their food. I've been making my own, like I put Pangea in, but add all this stuff like bee pollen, extra calcium, black soldier fly larvae. I even add local honey, fresh mangoes, and the feeding response has been really, really good with now that I've been adding and kind of tweaking things.
Yep. They love the sweetness.
They love it, but then when I get a gecko from somebody else, then they don't like it at first. Like at first, they're not sure about it, but then once they get on it, they grow so fast. They have been doing phenomenal, and you know what your animals need. Like I I try to explain, like they tell me what they need, and I can't really explain it, but I just know.
You'll like with us because we have so many at this point because we are full-time crested gecko breeders, ball python breeders as well, and then obviously the chewies. But across the board, I would say with our collection, we never have feeding issues. Just because we're always continuously offering up variety of flavors and things like that. We've always added our calcium powders and that type of thing. We've always been that breeder that kind of mixes up our own stuff. There's one thing like fresh blueberries. A lot of times that'll be a cool little additive that you can do.
Yes.
So it's just
Fresh
like
blueberries.
Blueberries, yep.
But the Chihuahuas will even, if you offer them a fresh blueberry, they will a lot of times just take it from you, which is it's the best. And they try and get it everywhere. They're so messy. Messy.
So that's the thing. So we in our Chihuahua enclosures, they have like a big amount of cork bark, right? And that's what we did with our leeches too. We did a lot of cork bark and stuff in theirs, and they were the nastiest things. Oh my gosh. Poop from a lychee is totally different than poop from a crested gecko.
It's totally different. I would rather like a Sumatran poop on me than a lychee, to be honest.
It's terrible.
Like, I could clean up the Sumatran better than what the lychee will give me.
It's terrible. It's awful. Like I'm just like, It's funny because we'll be sitting in a facility or something like that, and I'll hear one of the ball pythons, and they will just like blow it out. I'm like,
I know that was one of the most shocking things to me when I started keeping big snakes, because I keep a lot of Sumatrans and Bloods, and the noises that come out of them are insane. You just be walking in and you think like a ghost or something is behind. She's like, nope, it's just the Sumatran doing its quarterly poop. Finally.
That's the thing. Like we were sitting in the facility one time and we were about to like try to record a video or whatever, and one of them took like a big poo, and like it just sounded like the biggest fart ever. And I looked at Will, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I thought it was I was like, he's like, that wasn't me.
Yeah, sure. Blame it on the snake.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
He's like, I'm serious. That was right behind me. One of the snakes just took a poop. I was like, oh, well. And then, it's just like, it's funny because we've got, I guess, last time I counted, like not counting our hatchlings and stuff, I think we have close to like 300 ball pythons or whatever now.
Nice.
And at this point, and it's like a symphony of gas in
they
there.
all like sync up.
Yeah. Oh man, you didn't know we were going to talk about reptile poop. Like,
listen, it's just one of the things that comes with it. And when I'm at a show and people are holding an animal and it poops on them, I'm like, crap. But I'm always like, oh, that means it loves you.
Yeah.
That means it loves you. That's what I always say. Kind of breaks the ice a little bit.
Yeah. Here, let me get you a little sanitary wipe.
Yeah, here. But I've gotten, the stuff doesn't gross me out as much as it used to. Like, I was feeding roaches to something and I had my hand full and it went up my arm. So I grab it with my mouth and I put it back on the tongs. And then I was like, what did I just do? I am disgusted with myself. But it gets to a point where you don't even think twice about snake farts or anything. It's just normal behavior.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, oh, I've got this under my nails now. Oh, let me go wash my hands. But it just doesn't faze me, which I grew up like in the South anyway, like country, like I grew up like when I was little on a like 68-acre farm. So
That's awesome.
I've had horses and cows and, I've seen cow patties the size of Texas. So it's really not like any big deal to me. But I think the bigger deal was like not being afraid of snakes, because growing up in the country, like you come across some other snakes that aren't so friendly.
And you're taught to be fearful of them, which it's okay to have a healthy fear, especially of venom. Like I cannot keep venomous because first of all, it's not legal in my state. Second of all, I want it anyway because I leave things open.
Yeah.
I'm forgetful. So there's definitely a healthy fear. That was a thing I had to get over to at first, was what the bite will feel like. Like, what is it gonna feel like? And then I finally got bit by like a corn snake this big. And I was like, oh.
Never mind.
I freaked out for nothing because
thankfully I haven't been bit by a snake yet.
What?
Nope, not yet. I said, oh. Now I have been bit constantly by crested geckos and guards. Guard bites hurt. Like, oh
guards bites hurt. I like guards because they don't jump as much as crested geckos.
Yeah.
I've definitely gotten used to the bite. So.
Those bites hurt. So those, I've been bit by a tegu, a black and white Argentine tegu, and then I've been bit by a lychee. And
I haven't been bit by a lychee yet because I have lychees and it's bound to happen eventually. But
and then the guard, I would say, like, so my tegu, it was my fault totally. I was trying to feed it and it thought my finger was a pinky, so I grabbed onto my finger instead. Yeah. But then the lychee, I made a fatal error of reaching in its enclosure and touching its pork bark. That was a bad idea. Like, you don't do that with lychees. No. They're very territorial of their enclosure.
And you really can't even reach your hand in, because if you do, you have to grab them like instantly.
Yeah.
Or else they're gonna.
Yeah. And that was it. Like, he hated me after that. Hated me. Like, I would walk by, and now he would be fine with Will when Will walked by. But if it was me, it's like he knew that.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you if there are certain animals that like Will better and you better, because that happens a lot at my house, to where this snake, Chris is like, oh, this snake is so nice. This snake is so nice. And lets a girl hold it at a show. And she was a vendor, thankfully. And it's just a little milk snake and it bites on her. And he's like, oh, that thing has never bit before. I'm like, Chris, that thing bites me every week. It 100% bites. But
I wonder sometimes if it's not feminine hormones that it smells. Like, because a lot of my
Yes.
boys will bite me versus biting Will. And I think it's like they smell women, they smell a
Right.
female.
I
So,
know that my dog definitely knows. He acts strange with me. But once a month he thinks I'm in heat, and it's is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So I cannot wait to get him fixed.
my pig is like that. So I have a pig. I have a like an actual little Juliana pig. I got him at a reptile show.
Oh my
Actually,
gosh. Like one of the little one, like I've seen people have like the little ones at shows.
well, okay, so he was little when I got him, but y'all got to understand that when you get a mini pig, it is not going to be a mini pig. Like, they are literally like 2 to 300 pounds and under is like what you would refer to as a mini pig. Now, Roscoe, he is a Juliana, so he actually is a little bit smaller than some of your other mini pigs. So he's not quite that big, but he's intact. He's an intact male, and he like gives me a fit. Once a
Yeah,
month.
and won't they overeat if you let them? Like they'll just
Yeah.
continuously eat and eat and eat.
Yep. They
Chris,
sure will.
he loves pigs. I like pigs. I'd rather have a goat. I like goats.
They destroy everything. They eat and destroy.
That's
And
why I won't get a duck. So I don't know why I goats. But I
the,
also have pigeons. I breed pigeons.
oh,
That's a little like fun side project that I have that isn't scaly.
yeah.
So if you ever want a pigeon, I would totally recommend one. They are amazing pets.
Are they?
Amazing. Yes, I don't know what it is about them. They're just so funky. They have so much personality. I come into their coop, they all fly like circle around me. I feel like Snow White. I literally like every time I'm in there, I'm like, ah, ah. It's amazing.
That's cute.
I absolutely love them. So
I've seen
do you have any other like mammals stuff that you like breed? Do you breed any mammals?
So no, I don't breed any mammals. I did have skinny pigs at one time, but that is the worst ever. Like, most annoying, most loud animal that you will ever have in your entire
Oh
life.
wow.
Holy moly. And they gave my rat anxiety. Like, I had them in the same room, and they would squeak and he would just like lose his mind because they
I
annoyed
didn't
the crap.
know what it was.
And it was funny because I had a male and a female, and I thought, well, I'll breed them or whatever. They never did, and I think she actually like hated him because he would come up to her and she would like just bite at him and stuff. Like, I just think she was a pain in the butt like the whole time.
Have
Her
you ever
name,
had the naked rats before?
yes, I've got one actually right now. She's in a thing, and just a fun fact is like, well, it's more like a hot tip. If you're breeding rats and you do have a naked rat and it's your female, if they have their litter, you want to take your litter out of
Yep.
there and put it with another mama because they can smother their babies because there's no buffer with the fur.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I thought you were gonna, because I know that a lot of the females, like their ninnies are a lot smaller. They don't produce enough milk. But
Yeah.
I had a hard time because I tried to breed them, and nobody shared that tip with me.
Yeah, that was a tip that our rodent breeder shared with us when we were kind of getting some of those from him, our supply from him. So he had shared it with me. I was like, I didn't think about that, but it makes sense because there's no buffer whatsoever. So yeah,
That makes so much sense because rats are not gentle with their babies.
no, they're not.
They are not gentle, and it freaks me out. But
It's funny because they'll pick them up and they'll toss them.
yeah,
And
they'll like throw them. I'm like,
Yep.
what?
It was funny because there was a big pile of the little pups, the little babies, and I had Mama over to the side, and she had come up, and then Daddy was actually in the back, and he went burrowed under, and came up through the middle of all the babies, and they just went everywhere. I was like,
Or you'll have like a piece of felt in there, and then the mom, like they're all on it, and the mom be like, take this. And she'll like rip it from underneath, and babies go fly, and you're like, oh.
like, Mama.
Yeah, what
But
are
they're
you
funny
doing?
because they're such good family, like they're familial. They build
Yes.
those family bonds and they take care of each other, and it's like really, I love rats. Like I never thought I would be like a rat lover, but call call me crazy. I guess call me Cinderella because I love
Right?
them. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for coming on here. I really appreciate it. I had such a great time.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much, Audra. I will probably see you at Tinley.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be there. We'll be Daytona. We'll be we're going to Bob Vu's show in Atlanta,
I was
Siri,
thinking
and then
about doing that.
yeah, you should come out.
I don't
Absolutely.
have I have to get my permit. That's the only thing that's stopping me because I just haven't gotten around to my permit. But yeah, I should totally do that. I've heard it's really good. So,
Yeah, it is. It's great. It's absolutely awesome.
well, awesome. Thank you so much. And I will be chatting with you soon.
Okay, sounds great.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining Jules Girl Talk. I had an amazing guest, Audra, on here. So, yeah, tune in next week and I'll have another guest on. We can talk more reptiles and scales. So, thank you.